Hello plant friends, my name is Victoria and you're watching Plantastics. Today I'm going to be giving you a very short tour of my Crested Gecko enclosure behind me. It is an 18 by 18 by 36, so it's got lots of room for him to climb. If we're lucky, we might be able to see him. He is nocturnal, so he sleeps all day and he likes to hide, and I've given him lots of places to do that. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are, and this is the enclosure. If you look here to the right, I have this really nice camera. It's a little overkill, but I like to be able to see, and it gives me a really great quality image to see. I tend to think that whenever I put stuff out here and the lights turn off and he comes out, he just doesn't, I feel like he doesn't like to be watched, if that makes sense. So I will watch him on the camera, and it has night vision, and it's really great actually. I really recommend it, and I will have it linked in the description below. Okay, so let's talk about the setup, everything that's on the outside first. So you'll notice that I have these nozzles. There are 4 of them, and they are set up to a misting system. I'm a very busy girl, and I don't have time to remember to mist multiple times a day. So I have it on a schedule. Now, this one unfortunately has been discontinued, but it is great. And I've had it for over a year, and I've never had any issues with it. So what I use is distilled water, and then there comes a point where the water level gets really low and the misters are not able to run. So I use that leftover distilled water and I put it in this mister, and that's what I spray into his Repashy. And that's basically just like a food paste. There's different brands. I believe there's Pangea and Repashy. There may be other brands, but those are the big 2, I believe. So if we look inside, we've got a lot of light. So I'm going to walk you through the lights that are here. So in the daytime, they need to have a lower percentage of ambient humidity than at nighttime. The fans are off right now because they make a really loud humming sound, and I just didn't want to pick that up. But these are on a timer, and these run in the daytime. And that's important because that draws air out. You want to be able to have ventilation, and in pulling the air out, you're decreasing the humidity. I also have a ceramic heater here. So this is just a ceramic bulb, and it is off right now. So you can see it's not a light. They don't like red light. It harms their eyes. Now, all these LEDs do emit some heat. It's not enough to keep him warm, if that makes sense. And they turn off at nighttime. So he is on a timer. And I have this really nice smart plug by Casa, and it turns on at sunrise and it turns off at sunset. So he's able to experience seasons. I think that's very important. This is really nice, and I'm really happy with this because this ceramic heat emitter is set up to a thermostat. So you can see that here. And it's off right now. But anyways, this turns on and it is set to 70 degrees, and it basically creates a warm spot right here on this branch here. So he has the ability to go there and get warm if he wants to. What he likes to do if it's really cold is he likes to wake up, he likes to get around here and kind of get warm. And then what he'll do is he'll look down. I feed him on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I feed him a mix of Repashy, and sometimes I'll sprinkle in some insects. So you can see he didn't get this one mealworm. He got the others. And then you can see he really likes that flavor. It's like the insect mix or something. I have 3 different flavors. So on Monday he gets mulberry. On Wednesday he gets the like insect one. And then on Friday he gets the mango. He loves the mango. That's his favorite. But he eats all of them. So I think I've gone over everything in terms of setup. Now this enclosure is really nice. It's the Waco Cool or the Wack Cool, and I really enjoy it. Now I did set this up a year ago. I'd set it up in December of my 2L year as like a gift to myself, and then I got this Gecko in November. So all of this had a chance to grow in, and all of these plants are real. The reason I use distilled water is because I do not want the buildup that happens on the glass and whatnot. And also, there's no way for me to leach this because there's no drain. And leaching is where you flush out the minerals that build up in the soil because they can harm the roots. I can't do that because there is no drain, so I just use distilled. So this, I just lock this. If I have people coming over that I'm not familiar with, I will put the key away just in case someone's a little too curious. So here we have it open, and as we all know, these geckos are very clumsy. So if you're really cautious, you can aim to provide as many non-toxic plants as possible. I have marantas, I've got some ferns in here. I actually see him right now. I think you can see him, maybe you can, but he's hiding. He loves to hide here. So this is a ficus of some kind. I got it on clearance, and it's got really nice roots. He loves to sit here on these sticks, and he likes to like hunt. So when I put crickets in there, which I haven't gotten him crickets in like 2 weeks, I've just really been feeding him rapashi and some mealworms. But yeah, when he gets the crickets in there, he loves to go down there and he like runs after them and everything, and it's so much fun to watch him. I have several different air plants. When he was just a baby, he would sleep right in there, and it was so precious, and it was just cute. So you can notice that I have a lot of Hoyas as well. This is a Hoya, this is a Hoya, that's a Hoya, and then I have another one here. Because the misting goes off so frequently, I can kind of just put cuttings in there and they will take a root. This is a string of hearts, and you can see it's blooming there. And then this kind of cascading stuff that I have is Spanish moss, and it actually has bloomed for me. I have some peperomias tucked away, and then I have anthuriums. I removed most of the anthuriums because this is perfect for them, so they kind of outgrow the enclosure. The only real toxic thing that I can think of in here is this alocasia, but he never really comes into contact with it. It's really only dangerous if they eat it. Now, I've never seen him eat leaves. They don't actually eat leaves. They really like to eat fruit and nectar and insects. So they're not going to do it intentionally like maybe some chameleons, but they're goofy, so they really can't aim very well. So that's the reason. So anything that's really small, like this string of hearts, that they can get in their mouth, that is something to kind of avoid if you want to be super cautious. I also have this Schefflera variegated, and it's the umbrella plant. Now there's another umbrella plant that is toxic, and this is the one that is not, if you can see. And then I've got this, it looks like a begonia, but it's not. And then you can see this beautiful little moss ball that I have here for him, that I have things growing all over. You really can't see it, but that big black hole, that's where it is. He has never slept in it. He's kind of like a cat. If you want him to go somewhere, if you buy him something specific, he will never use it. But I'm holding on to the hope that one day he will find it and he will go in there. So here he is. He's tucked away. I really do not handle him. I will put an insect on my hand and he will get on it, and then I will put him in this little box and I'll weigh him. So I need to weigh him this month, so I might do that next week. It's pretty much the end of every month that I weigh him. And you do that to make sure that they are gaining weight. If they're a juvenile, which he is, this June he'll turn 1. And if you have one that's an adult, you do that to just make sure that they're maintaining their weight. If they drastically start losing weight or drastically start gaining weight, you can use that to monitor and see maybe an exotic vet if it's something that's kind of alarming. But as you can see here, the plants really love it. They're quite established. Crested geckos can kind of get a little large if you look at the plants in comparison to them. So you really want to have some plants that are well established. I know that it's very popular and highly recommended to have established and cycled aquariums. And I really would like to see a trend where people set up enclosures like this and allow it to grow in, so that way the roots are established and the geckos, when they land on a plant, they're not really ripping anything out, because they like to climb like they would in their natural environment. Now, if you look on this back wall, I've got several different orchids, and now that I know he's there, I'm not going to really reach in and touch because I don't want to wake him up and scare him. He still has his tail, and unlike other geckos, his tail won't grow back. So I really try not to handle him, and I really want him to keep his tail. Here is an orchid, and then right there in the very back where I'm pointing, that's an orchid as well, and they really love it. I have a Hoya linearis in the middle. But you can kind of see, like, this is just, it's a very well grown in enclosure that provides so many places for him to hide. And I have a video where I built this actually, and you can kind of see just how far it's come, because when I built it, it did not look like this. This is a year of growth. There's also a ton of other plants, like there's a bromeliad right there, and then I also have some syngoniums. I have a flame violet down there, and then I have lots of leaf litter. There are isopods. Not every insect I put in there he's able to catch, so there's also some mealworm beetles. I don't know what the adult stage of them is called, and then there's also dubia roaches. I try to provide him insects at least once a week so he can have some enrichment, because they really like to hunt them. And it keeps him from kind of like zooming in and getting fixated on my isopods. I've never seen him eat them, but I do see him stare at them. So I'm sure he's tried to eat them or has eaten some of them. So, and then I have a Tenanthe in there. I added this piece of wood after I built it because I wanted him to have more places to kind of, you know, I didn't have this whenever I first built it. So I wanted to have a place that was kind of close to where he could get warmer. And then I added these branches later too, because it was, when he was a baby, he would crawl up this fern and he would try to jump on the wall. So I just gave him more branches so he could go up and down from the canopy. And you can kind of see that the majority of the foliage and stuff is like in this top or middle part. And that's because that's where they really like to go. Now, the only time I really see him go to the bottom is when he knows that there are crickets or he's hoping there are crickets. So sometimes he'll wake up and immediately go down to the bottom because he thinks that there's crickets. He's gotten to where he isn't afraid of me anymore. When I first got him, he would see me and he would kind of run and hide. And that was when he was super small. Like, he was born in June, so June, July, August, September, October, November. So when he was 5 months old, he would kind of run from me, and I think that's normal because I'm this big, scary human. Now that he's older, he has really gotten and figured out that when I open the cage, I'm fixing to put some food or water in there. So he gets really excited and he'll come to the front. Now, he doesn't jump out to greet me. He's not like a dog, but he does like get very curious to see what I'm doing. And he, ironically, does drink out of a water bowl. There is some thought out there that they only drink water from leaves. Now, when he was a baby, he didn't eat for like a week. He also could have been eating. I got this camera because he was eating so little. I couldn't tell if he was eating at all because right now you can see he ate because there's this empty spot. But when he was smaller, he wouldn't eat that much. So I set up this camera because I wanted to make sure he was eating because I was so scared he wasn't getting any food because I knew I'd see him eat crickets, but they need both. They really need more rapashi. So he's grown. He has grown a lot. I'll have to try to get some footage to show you basically like how small he was when I first got him. And I've got some footage of him jumping out of his little container for the first time. Now, the breeder I purchased him from is a small business. I purchased them from somebody that I met on Morph Market, and I chose to do that because I really wanted to support someone that is ethical, that knows the lineage of their reptiles, because the lineage will determine their health and their quality of life. I also wanted to support someone that housed and cared for geckos in a way that was ethical and humane and really just to their benefit. And some of the larger pet stores don't seem to follow that ideology. Of course, it is a corporation and they have shareholders and they have to focus on making money. But with a small business, they kind of care more for the pets than the bottom line. So that's what I chose to do. And you could probably find someone on Morph Market that you want to support. So yeah, I went, looked at pictures online, and then I went in person and got to see all their other geckos. I got to see some of his brothers and sisters, and I also got to see his parents. So that was really cool. He's a Chevy Harlequin Dalmatian. So he does have some spots. They're all on his tail. And yeah, so that's all I can think of. If you have any questions, be sure to comment and I'll try to answer them as best I can. The misting schedule is going to depend on your amount of plants and your humidity. I watched my humidity for a year before I placed anything in here. So I was very aware of how I could alter it. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be seeing you later. Be sure to watch the video where I built this if you're curious, and then I have a lot of the things I used to build it in that video so you can get inspiration for your build. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.